This video took a bit longer to release than I would have liked, and I'll go into why as we get later into the video, but for now, enjoy your feature presentation.
Hello, this is J.E. Realize. Thank you for flying with us today.
Last time in this video series, we were talking about the grand final, the automatic qualifier acts that had stepped up to the plate, some cool stuff they were doing, and also some questionable stuff they were doing. And I'll be going into another questionable thing that the Swiss Eurovision did shortly. But yeah, it's time to talk about the jury votes. For those of you who don't know how the voting works, since 2016, both the juries and the televote of each country have their own set of points to give out. Since there are 37 countries in this edition, we have a total of 74 sets of points. No, 75 sets of points, because we have to throw in the rest of the world public vote. Each set of points is effectively giving your points out to the top 10. First place gets 12 points, second gets 10 points, third gets 8 points, fourth gets 7 points, and so on down the ladder, where a lower position gets you one less point until you're in 10th place and get 1 point. With the jury starting us off, we get their points on a country-by-country basis. And how it would work is you go to a country, we'll start with Sweden since they hosted last year, and they unannounced give their bottom 9 points just there in that graphic for you to memorize. And the host would go on about some random stuff, you know, they would talk about how great and wonderful the contest has been, and maybe even reference some things of the Eurovision Song Contest of this year, or maybe if they had been a previous contestant of their song, and then they would give their 12 points, often with a little cue of what song they're going to give their points to. They don't really have any jury say, they're just there to present the points. But they'll give their cue based on the song, usually it's lyrics, and they try to sing it, and the points get awarded. But here's the very first problem that I had noticed, and that is the Swiss contest decided, instead of showing us the entire board throughout most of the jury section, you know, you would normally have the bottom 9 points given out while the spokespeople are talking a little too long. And you could kind of sort of keep track of where the points were going down. Like, for instance, you would see, oh, there's Spain, they're getting a few points early on, that's kind of good. And then you would see, oh, they're slipping, they're not getting as many points or even any at all, to the point where they're third from last or something. But instead of showing us the board as it happens, we get the board only when the points for first place, the 12 points, get announced, and we see the one group representing that one country which received the points. And then you get the board then. And then it disappears once we go back to the announcers. I cannot keep track of the voting this way. With the voting section, I did have a few problems with, say, how the points were awarded for the bottom 9. I would say they were awarded too fast because, you know, you can't account for the spokesperson finishing up really early, or, you know, the points are awarded by Martin Oosterdal because the Dutch spokesperson in 2024 decided to sit out of protest. But this new system is worse. You effectively have to take snapshots, or I guess it would even be faster to bring up a spreadsheet and pin together the numbers yourself. But where's the fun in that? The fun is in the suspense. But yeah, we have that sort of thing. As for the jury votes themselves, they were kind of going all over the place. Like, you had some for, you know, Switzerland, for some reason. You had some for Austria, you had some for France, some here, some there. Some 12 points given to Latvia, oddly enough, which, yeah, I don't know why, given the caliber of the songs in this competition, but the only country that didn't receive any jury points was Iceland, which is kind of shocking, even though Iceland isn't my overall favorite or really that close. They're pretty middle of the list for me. And the fact that they received 0 points had not only kind of concerned me a little, but also freaked out a lot of people who really love the Icelandic entry. Austria ended up with 258 points from the jury, and Switzerland with 214. Meanwhile, I have this computer that's effectively worth nothing due to it being from 2012. France received 180 points, Italy 159, Netherlands 133 from the juries. Meanwhile, Iceland, I mentioned, had 0 points from the juries. San Marino in second last with 9 somehow. Another victory for Van Wank, I guess. Poland has 17 points, Norway has 22, and Luxembourg has 23 to round out the bottom 5. And really, I'm kind of finding a lot of this out for the first time since the results board just flew so fast back in the jury presentation. But yeah, while I have this 1366 by 768 resolution computer from 2012 on me, we may as well go through the other things that happened in the Eurovision Song Contest. Like, for example, the Marcel Bezencon Award. And wouldn't you know it, they all went to French language songs. And not even like fake Van Wank songs. I mean, like, the two have French speaking in their blood. Two of the awards, the Press Award, now apparently called the Media Award, and the Artistic Award, went to Luan representing France for the song Maman. As for the Composers Award, which goes to the writers of the song that won the Composers Award, this one goes to the writers of the Swiss song Voyage, performed by Zoe Me, which also includes Zoe as part of the team. Post-production JE Realize here. I didn't mention the awarding of the Marcel Bezencon Award because I wasn't able to access it through region locking. But I did look back at it after recording this video, and yeah, there were a few things notable about the video, and one of which was the audio sampling. Like, you could barely hear anything which wasn't super close to the mic. Anyway, Voyage's team received their award first, and we heard about Zoe talking about a video about kindness, about taking care of flowers to make sure they're the most beautiful. And then after that, we got Luan come in. Luan received the Media Award, and she was, pretty grateful. And then Krister, of course, says, "Why don't you stay there?" And Luan freaks out over receiving a second award, this time the Artistic Award. Yeah, that's pretty standard fare for the Marcel Bezencon Award. As for the OGAE Award, OGAE is a Eurovision fan club, essentially. And every year, the countries participating, as well as the rest of the world, vote on what their preferred song sent to Eurovision this year is. And we can start ourselves off with the list of countries that received 0 points. Because considering how hard it is to make sure no one gets any set of 0 points in any one grand final, it must be a horror to stop that from happening in a 37-song gauntlet. Yeah, they effectively use the same voting system, except one set of votes per each country voting. And the list of 0-pointers is as followed. Iceland, again, goodness sake, you can't. Portugal, Azerbaijan. I should also probably be offended that Portugal's on the list. Really? Croatia, Cyprus, Montenegro, Armenia, Georgia, and Serbia. Oh my goodness sake, so many heavy hitters on the 0 points list. It really goes to show you that if you place in the middle of someone's rankings, you get 0 points. So this sort of ranking punishes a lot of fairly decent entries. As for the top 10, Norway came in 10th with 71 points. Estonia came in 9th with 85. Oh my goodness, like, I don't know. Sometimes OGAE has quite a taste, don't they? Spain came in 8th with 136, but just imagine Spain not doing really well in the contest. It's a tale as old as time. We just don't know what is with this anti-Spanish bias in the contest. Like, people like Italian language songs and French language songs and apparently German language songs well enough, but Spanish language songs, it's a mystery. 7th is France with just 1 point above, 137. 6th is, wait, no, seriously, Albania with 158. As I said, that song had a lot of promise, and I think it would have really been much better. But I guess for a lot of people, their song was good enough. 5th place is Malta with 164. That's kind of bizarre in a sense. Like, not that Malta was a bad song, but, like, this high up? Okay. 4th is Finland with 253 points. Okay, not bad, it's just kind of surprising when I'm looking at it. 3rd is Netherlands with 278, which is kind of surprising when you think about it. Their song, in my opinion, is a grower. Like, it takes time for you to love the song. On your first read through of the song, you're not feeling that much, but maybe if you stick with it, you might find some valor, particularly in its performance. 2nd is Austria with 382. Goodness sake, that many points? This really has you wondering, how many points is 1st place gonna get? And who's gonna get 1st place? Okay, 1st place gets 420. Nice. No, 421 points. Not as nice. And what's even less nice, in my opinion, is it goes to Sweden of all countries. Sweden of all countries! The one time they don't send in jury bait, they win the OGAE contest. Okay, that's kind of random. Next up is the Eurovision Award, the successor to the Barbara Dex Award. The Eurovision Award gives their awards to the performances that had the most striking, inspiring outfits in the contest.
Is what I would say if there were one. I don't know what happened. There has been no news regarding voting for the Eurovision Award this year, and I don't know why. It kind of sucks that Eurovision Award just kind of sort of ended like this. You know, tracing its roots back to the 1990s through the Barbara Dex Award. It's gone. And that hurts, you know, having such a long-standing, even if it's just a fan thing, tradition in the contest go by like that. I would still like to honor some of the acts that had the most memorable, striking outfits in this year's Eurovision Song Contest. And I do have some experience with that you may not expect. Back when the American Song Contest was a thing, I set up my own version of the Barbara Dex Award. Then when I found out it was renamed to the Eurovision Award, I named my American version of the award You're a Merry Vision Award. You know, Amerivision. You're not the only people who could do the plays on words. Essentially, I got people to nominate certain acts, and the top 5 acts would advance to a voting round. And the podium, after I received all the votes, looks like this. 3rd place went to Nitro Nitro's bedazzled conductor's outfit when she performed for Delaware in the 1st round. 2nd place went to Grant Kanoki's shonen antagonist outfit when he performed for Texas in the 2nd round. And 1st place went to Mari's wireframe ballerina outfit that she performed in when representing New Hampshire in the 2nd round. All I can say is, those are really respectable choices. Therefore, yeah, I have some experience, and therefore I will try nominating 3 acts in the grand final and another act that didn't make it to the grand final, as well as a Barbara Dex traditional nominee. And I'll get to explaining that in a moment, but let me pull my phone out. I have decided for my 3 choices for the grand final Eurovision nominees that I would put up, one of the nominations would go to Zifferblatt with that 80s aesthetic. I don't know how else to describe it. It felt rather warm and cozy. You got the coattail with the heart hole in it. It's pretty nice, nostalgic sort of outfit. Yeah, Ukraine gets a spot on the nomination list because of that. Next up is Tautumatis from Latvia. That nice combination of nature and mysticism, and of course a little bit of monkey tail in there for good measure. I cannot deny, like, very few people can deny, but I certainly cannot deny that at least those outfits have aesthetic, and it really matches the mood of the song on top of that. In fact, I would probably put Tautumatis as my number one favorite, but it would require me giving some time to all the other acts. As for the third, I think I'm going to give it to Luxembourg, Laura Thorne. Just initially, her first outfit looking all cushy, making her look like a piece of furniture in some ways. I mean, she did have the second outfit, which is kind of cheating, and the second outfit is kind of conventional, but I think the first outfit, with how it makes her look like a doll in a rather, yeah, I don't know how to say, I'd say stark or impressive or something, but I can't quite pin down that word. Sometimes I'm good with words, sometimes I'm not, but yeah, that has a form of, I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna use the French phrase for it. This is a French language song. That would be a little over the top. There are quite a few other acts in the grand final that are worth looking at. Some would say Albania with the dress, or Poland with that neat bodysuit. But those are my choices. As for the semifinals, which I decided to pick one because, there are a lot less non-qualifiers than there are finalists. There are admittedly quite a few choices. I mean, you have Croatia, you have Belgium, you have Australia. Heck, even Georgia's outfit is kind of noteworthy. Okay, this one's tough. I think I'm going to go with Croatia because it's a little more unconventional. Like, Belgium's red suit thing was cool, but it seemed kind of, latex. It stand for the contest and that sort of thing. It's not terrible. It's pretty nice. It's just, I don't know. I just made my choice. And as for the Barbara Dex honorary nominee, I decided I was going to select a separate act compared to the other acts that is known for worst dressed in the contest, because why not? But then again, this is Eurovision. It's hard to not find several nominations for this sort of category. But I would probably go with Miriana Conte of Malta, because leopard print bodysuit with clothes on top of it. I know it's part of the theme of the song, but it's hard to keep a laugh in when you kinda sorta think about it. Plus there's the bonus of second outfit. Why not? But then again, this is all meant for good fun. Hopefully there is a solution resolved soon, because, every key tradition we have in Eurovision, we have to find some way of keeping them alive. But with that, let's finally get back into it.
Next up, let's talk about the qualifiers from each semifinal. The semifinals are decided entirely by public vote, which is gonna lead to me getting infuriated from all my picks getting dashed. But let's begin. How did all these songs do? Let's work our way up from the bottom to the top, I guess. 15th place goes to Azerbaijan! Do you really have no taste? 14th place goes to Belgium! Do you really have no taste? 13th place goes to Slovenia! Do you really have no taste? Like, I'm tempted to cut it here and that's my entire list. Let's go, let's go, let's go. What you gonna do when I let you go? But really, my top Okay, it's bad enough that this is the original top 3 I was banking on in semifinal 1 before Portugal and Netherlands sneaked up on me. But now you mean to tell me that my former top 3 of semi 1 is the bottom 3? Really? Dear Europe, what is going on with you? Azerbaijan got 7 points, and Slovenia and Belgium are tied with 23, except the tiebreaker favors Slovenia in this case. I don't even know if I want to bother with the rest of the list, but I guess I shall. 12th place is Croatia with 28 points, and 11th goes to Cyprus with 44, being beaten by 10th place and their 46 points, which goes to San Marino. You mean to tell me that they only barely qualified? And had the wonders of the universe worked the other way, Cyprus would have qualified instead of them? My goodness, I don't even know where to begin with this list. I don't really care what the rest of Europe says. I'm gonna read through the rest of the list in ascending order until we hit the number 1 in the public vote. 9th place goes to Portugal. 8th place goes to Norway. 7th to Poland. 6th place goes to Iceland. Maybe there's still some hope for Iceland. 5th goes to Estonia. I still don't see Ukraine or Sweden on this list yet. 4th place goes to Sweden. Okay. 3rd to the Netherlands. 2nd to Albania. Well, that's an inspired choice. Okay, I guess Albania had hit something that I think really worked out. And first goes to Ukraine. I am highly tempted to call this political voting, but then again, what isn't in Eurovision? And also, that's just a cheapskate answer for not admitting that apparently Europe really likes thinking, reminiscing, I guess, about the 1980s and how things were better back when Europe was split in half. Okay, next up, second semifinal qualifiers. Yeah, I didn't go through the points given for the first semifinal. What's the point? But second semifinal qualifiers. Who is at the bottom of the list? 16th is Montenegro with 12 points. I would have never guessed /S. It was obvious. It was obvious Montenegro was going to stink. But this hard? They are never coming back to the contest after this done. But that was kind of on them. 15th goes to Georgia. I never would have guessed /S. Of course they would have sunk super low down. But from here, I have no idea how the rest of the list is going to work out. Because, yeah, Europe, as well as I, worked out that Montenegro and Georgia are stinkers this year. And maybe Georgia's going to leave the contest soon after this. But Europe voted entirely differently. Case in point. 14th place goes to Serbia, tied with Georgia with 28 points, but the tiebreaker favoring Serbia. Wow. People just really don't like Balkan ballots anymore. Like, this is the end? That hurts. That hurts that this is the end. It didn't even end on a high note. 13th place goes to Ireland, also with 28 points. Wait! They were in a tie with Serbia and Georgia, and had the wind shifted a bit, Georgia would have come in 13th? Beating out Serbia and Ireland? Why? 12th is Czechia, but only with 29 points, meaning that Georgia could have come in 12th. But yeah, Czechia after this contest, they're pretty much gonna say kiss kiss goodbye to the contest. Like, they have been sending in heavy hitters and not getting honored for it. I mean, we knew this was coming. When you look at the qualifiers for 2021, Benny Cristo got 0 points from the televote. 0! And 11th was Australia with 41 points, which isn't close enough to qualify because 10th place got 51 points and went to Armenia. Oh, goodness sake. 9th goes to Malta, which is kind of surprising given OGAE, but then again, it's unsurprising given OGAE. 8th goes to Denmark. 7th goes to Luxembourg. 6th to Lithuania. 5th to Austria. Let me repeat that. 5th to Austria. Fourth goes to Greece, which didn't really make sense for me at the time, but now I kind of get it. Even though I docked points from it from not being able to remember the song, and even though I compared it to Onero Mu, which NQ'd in 2018, you know, it's not a bad song. I just wish that my brain just refused to cooperate.
Oops, my brain isn't cooperating.
Third goes to Finland, no surprise. Second goes to Latvia, big surprise. And first, I don't even need to tell you which country came in first. It's probably the same country that came in first in the rest of the world vote. So let's move on to the rest of the world vote. Let's start with semifinal 1. How did the rest of the world vote? First point goes to Netherlands. 2 points goes to Croatia. 3 to Norway. 4 to Estonia. I haven't completely lost it. 5 points to Portugal. 6 to Poland. Or maybe I have. 7 to Sweden. Okay. 8 goes to Iceland. That's kind of funny, in a way, because Iceland was dunked on by the grand final juries. But yeah, let's move on. 10 points go to Ukraine. Unsurprising, except for the fact that they didn't come in first. Okay, if Ukraine wasn't the rest of the world's political favorite, who was? Albania! Okay! Albania catching me all sorts of surprise this contest. Like, again, I don't hate the song, but I ultimately didn't rank it highly because I felt there was a lot of stuff missing. I guess considering my mindset, if they had fixed those, they would have won the contest this year. Also, no points given to Belgium, Slovenia, or Azerbaijan. In fact, the only NQ they gave points to is Croatia, which meant the only country they didn't vote for that did qualify was San Marino. I feel you. Now on to semifinal 2. How did the rest of the world vote here? 1 point goes to Ireland. 2 points go to Australia. Maybe there's still hope. 3 points go to Malta. 4 to Denmark. 5 to Lithuania. 6 to Finland. 7 to Greece. 8 to Czechia. 8 points to Czechia. 8 points to Czechia. 10 points to Latvia. I really thought you were coming around, rest of the world. I really thought we could be friends. And 12 points. I don't need to tell you who came in 12th. I will tell you once we get to the grand final. We'll make it a combined notification here, okay? We're gonna make it a combined thing here. We already acknowledged that the rest of the world voted for Australia, Ireland, and Czechia, a lot like me, to go into the final, but ultimately they didn't. Who did they not vote for that got in anyway? Armenia's on the list, as well as Luxembourg, and wait, no, they did not vote for Austria! Even I would have voted for Austria. My goodness sake, that is just... Okay, grand final time, because the EBU never acknowledges our existence in anything meaningful. They never say, "Good afternoon, America." No wonder the American Song Contest failed. They never said, "Good afternoon, America." How did the rest of the world vote in the grand final? 1 point went to Austria. They finally came around to Austria. I'm kind of hinting at them a little too hard, aren't I? Well, of course I am. It's because they're the jury winner. 2 points go to Estonia. 3 to Spain. Thank goodness. If the rest of the world gave nothing to Spain again, I was wondering, is the rest of the world voting even worth it? You know how many countries, how many people in the rest of the world speak Spanish? You would think that this would favor Spain. 500 million people. I may be exaggerating by 100 million people or so, but 500 million people. Come on. 4 points to Poland. 5 to Finland. Okay, I'm kind of stuck here in the same boat with Eurovision pundits. I kind of expected Finland to do a little bit better. In full disclosure, Finland and Spain I voted for, and they're both in the bottom half of the rest of the world top 10. I could only do so much. And I really kind of only voted for Spain because even though they had a pretty awesome song, I felt, here, Spain, take these points, you're going to need it because otherwise no one is going to vote for you. 6 points go to Sweden. You mean to tell me after all of that, despite Spain and Finland, they still vote for Sweden? 7 points go to Greece, 8 to Ukraine, 10 to Albania, because no one can touch the very top. And you can't accuse me of favoritism at this point, because I'm going to acknowledge it. The winner of the second semi-final qualifiers of the rest of the world, 12 points, and the grand final rest of the world, 12 points, all go to Israel. All of them. It's a new day! Yes, it is! Now that we are done with all of that, okay? We're done with all of the preamble. It's time we finally get into the public vote. These are awarded to each country at once, rather than having each country that gives those points have a say. Kind of neuters the honors, but at the same time, I get it. It kind of makes things a little more impactful when you can give out points in big bursts, or not so big bursts, as we will see later on. Let's begin with Iceland. They get 33 points. Okay, not bad, not terrible. Next up is San Marino. The public vote gives them 18 points, putting them in last place in the contest with 27, compared to Iceland's 33. Barely vindicated. Barely! San Marino ending up in last. I would want to say, yeah, FanWink was only going to take you so far, but it got them into the finals so far, so, yeah, I can't really say much. Next up is Poland, which receives 139 points? Goodness sake, we're going to have to keep track on Poland later on. Like, wow! I must have missed something. Norway receives 67 points. Luxembourg receives 24 points. Spain receives 10 points, a tale as old as time. This puts them in third to last with 37 points overall. Lithuania receives 62 points. Portugal receives 13 points. Armenia receives 30 points. I'm really getting strikeouts, aren't I? But Denmark is next. They receive 2 points. They receive only 2 points. On the one hand, this is good for me because I could probably get in now, but on the other hand, only 2 points. This puts them in 23rd because while Luxembourg has the same amount of grand final points, 47, Luxembourg beats Denmark on the public vote tiebreaker. As I mentioned, Luxembourg is 22nd, barely beating out Denmark. Portugal gets 50 points overall, so they're in 21st. And 20th place overall is Armenia with 72 points. Ah, goodness sake. Albania is up next, and even though Albania and Denmark had the same amount of jury votes, the tiebreaker favors Albania. So Albania is announced after Denmark and gets 173 points from the televote. I think the televote is also all over the place this year, don't you think? Next up is Ukraine and Israel. Oh boy, these two have so much in common when it comes to voting in Eurovision, don't they? With Israel going first due to the tiebreaker favoring Ukraine in the jury vote, and Israel gets 297 points. 297 points. Also, I should mention this one thing. Malta in 2021 tried to get Jemikas over with an extensive ad campaign, but absolutely blew it in the public vote. Meanwhile, Israel does the same thing, and they place first in the public vote overall. I don't know, I guess all I can say at this point is Malta, take notes. Take lots of notes. Dissect Israel's success, and maybe, just maybe, you'll win the contest in the next half century. Alright, next up is Ukraine. Can Ukraine do as well as Israel? Let's see. The amount of points Ukraine gets is 100. Yep, not enough. I don't even need to finish the rest of the sentence. Not nearly enough. They only got half as many points, 158. Not a bad number, and admittedly, more than I would call it, but still. Yeah. I mean, I wish it were as easy as vote for the quality of the song, but I also have to factor in the health and future of the contest for multiple reasons. Okay, let's move on. Germany. Their amount of points they get from the public is 74 points, which effectively doubles the amount of points that they receive from the jury. Not quite, but kinda sorta. Then we have Malta receiving 8 points from the televote. Again, take notes, I guess. This list is brutal, and I'll do you one more. Remember Finland, the favorite of the pundits? Finland gets 108 points. That's it. Just 108. Take it or leave it. We'll see how the overall vote stacks for Finland and the rest of the countries, but for now, we have to deal with this giant boulder in the way. The United Kingdom. Not a bad song, but wouldn't it be funny if the United Kingdom just got 0 points this time? And the United Kingdom's public vote score is 0 points. 0 puntos. What the hell just happened? No clue, but I like it. The United Kingdom should just own it at this point. They should be the country that comes in guns blazing, that does really well in the jury vote, and gets Zippo from the public vote. They should just make that their thing. I would love to see it. I think it's funny. But yeah, this means the United Kingdom has 88 points, all from the juries, and places 19th. 18th place is Norway with 89 points. Dang, it's so close. If they would have held on to that statement, Malta is in 17th with 91 points. If the United Kingdom had scrounged up enough points, they would have matched rank with Mali's Children of the Universe in 2014. 16th is Lithuania with 96 points. Then we have a big jump. Germany coming in 15th with 151 points. Poland in 14th with
156.
a big jump of points so far from the 90s to 150s. But for now, that's as far as we're going to take it because we have quite a few other results to go through. Estonia's up next, and they get 258 points from the public vote. The chat I was hanging out in was livid. Like, a lot of them really liked Estonia, even though I don't get it. But Estonia, in the ranking, missed Israel by 1 point. So many people were gut-punched by that. I really wish I could say anything on this matter, but saying anything that is even obvious would get me into a Salvadorian prison. Let's move on. Greece gets 126 points from the public vote, and as for Latvia, they get only 42 points. I'm kind of vindicated. I think a lot of people would think that Latvia would do rather well, but I guess they're gonna have to settle for 13th place with 158 points overall. Next up is Sweden, which receives 195 points from the
Public vote?
Also, I need to mention here, Israel, Estonia, Sweden, they're the public vote top 3. That's kind of a spoiler, but let's continue. The Netherlands receives also 42 points from the public vote, same as Latvia's, putting them in 12th overall with 175 points. Finland is in 11th with 196. I was planning on giving Finland the 6th place award. As you may know, I give the 6th place award to a country which everyone has high hopes for, but the reality of the situation puts them barely outside of the top 5. This one is barely outside the top 10. Well, I do say barely, but not by much. We'll get there. We still have the top 10 to go. Next up is Italy, which did rather well in the juries, but in the public vote they received 97 points. Still more than Portugal, which sucks considering I would put Italy and Portugal as equal rivals in a sense. France is up next. Quite the darling, but I didn't really feel for it, and the audience didn't either. 50 points. That's gotta be brutal, right? But hold on. We're down to the top 2. Wait, we're down to the top 2 in the jury vote? Yes, we are! Next up is Switzerland, the host country, doing rather good. How well are they going to do now? Well, Switzerland receives a grand total of 0 points, which is long form for saying 0 points. You came second in the jury vote but received 0 points. A lot of people are going to call conspiracy on that one, and I had come up with a few conspiracy theories before, but they were just theories, okay? There's a difference between a theory and a hypothesis. Theory at least has some credibility behind it. They have some facts behind it. They were kind of sort of proven. But a hypothesis is not, and I think that's kind of led to a few unfortunate events in the past several decades. All kidding aside, I can see why Switzerland would bomb. I had called it before that this was a Swiss national final caliber song. Like, it may do well with the juries, but it was probably going to bomb with the televote. And I'd say it's about time too. While this sort of event is highly improbable, I don't think the EBU could have gotten away with pulling something there. It isn't as simple as changing jury votes to go from one country to another. You have to swap around entire lists for entire countries. Yeah, I think it was only a matter of time before we see this big a sink from the televote in regards to a jury favorite. And both of the 0 points from the public vote in the grand final, they went after the automatic qualifiers. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, I've made my case on why I don't think we should go back to 100% televote before. So let's just continue pushing up the list, okay? In the top 10 overall, Switzerland is 10th with 214 points. 9th and 8th both go to Albania and Ukraine, but Albania beats Ukraine even though they have the same amount of points, 218. 7th place goes to France with 230. I kind of expected them to place a bit higher. 6th goes to Greece with 231, kind of surprising for me. 5th place goes to Italy with 256 points. 4th place is Sweden with 321. Estonia came in 3rd with 356. And now we have Israel currently in the lead with 357 points, and Austria with 258. So many people in the chat room are rooting for Austria to win. So many people in the arena are rooting for Austria to win. I can't deny the reality of the situation. I can try to be impartial, but I can't say much when they're giving as much support to the jury winner, Austria, as they did to Portugal back in 2017, ahead of the final points being delivered. I can only say so much. Pontius Pilate. All Austria needs is 100 points to win the entire game. And the public has given them 100, and the entire arena explodes. I can say nothing at this point. Austria was one of my favorites. I mean, if I'm being entirely honest, Israel also had a pretty solid song, but Austria won the day. Austria won the hearts of Europe. Austria's public vote total is 4th overall with 178 points, which leads to them winning with 436 points in this year's contest. Let me say 2 things here. First, I called it. I said from the beginning the jury winner was going to run away with this again. And second, when I was talking about Ireland and the dogs, I should have said Commissar Rex. There's an Austrian reference for you. I know what Commissar Rex is. Now that my laptop is out of my hands, I may as well elaborate on a few things that were going on while the public votes were being counted, because I didn't get to before. We saw something that I admittedly kind of approved of. throughout the public votes, we were seeing the full board with points going up, moving people up, and moving other people down. But once we were around the point where
Italy
was getting points, we saw only the left-hand side of the board, showing the countries that were still in contention and a few of the countries that didn't make it. I honestly like this move. It gives a little more space for the contestants who are still in the running, and it also only lets us focus on what matters. Yeah, it kind of sucks that we don't get to see the points over time, but we did have plenty of time earlier in the public vote. That's not something I can say with the jury vote, unfortunately. And I don't know what it is, but I felt as the points were coming in for Switzerland and Austria that we were on the edge of the world. Like, the world was coming to a close. It was winding down for the night. We were going dark room soon. It felt spooky. It felt eerie. And it may have just been me because things have not been going that well for me. But yeah, you could tell by the audience reaction that tensions were high, and so many people took their jury winner and said, yes, this is our champion. We're going back to Austria. We should have known when the clue was given to us, and the clue this time, the postcards. The clue in 2024 that led to Switzerland's victory was the cross shape of the stage. The clue this time was the postcards, which were inspired by Vienna 2015. Except we're probably not going to go to Vienna because Vienna's already hosted it twice, and the EBU likes to host in other parts of the country wherever possible. So I guess we're going to Innsbruck. I wouldn't mind going to Innsbruck. After all of that, we had JJ and the Austrian team celebrate. We had JJ hugging his family as he went down to the stage to receive the trophy from Nemo. We had a generic speech from JJ about how Eurovision is all about love. Honestly, I preferred We Are Unstoppable from Conchita Wurst. But yeah, we had the performance of the song. We had streamers going off, which made him go, "Oh my gosh!" And, you know, people were celebrating. But there was one thought that had occurred to me when I was watching the results on Reflection. The Reflection, another Austrian song, by the way, from 1999. This kind of reminds me of 2018 a bit. You remember La Forza by Elena Nechayeva, of course, because I brought it up when talking about JJ's song earlier. La Forza was one of the favorites to win, but they came in 8th. Meanwhile, Austria that year came in 3rd, but due to the different announcement of public votes back then, which favored the ascending order of public votes rather than the ascending order of jury votes, Austria was still in the running in 1st, even though when you did the math, they were no longer in the running. We had Cyprus and we had Israel. Israel was ahead of Cyprus in the jury vote, and then when the public vote came in, the lower amount of points went to Cyprus, which meant no one had to announce anything. Israel won the contest. But this year, it kind of feels like La Forza came back with a vengeance. It was a different package, sure, but the image was there. It felt like a rewriting of history. Like, instead of La Forza coming in 8th, they came in 1st. Except this time, it was an Austrian entry. Estonia came in 3rd, and Israel came in 2nd. All 3 countries to be noted. Although Estonia this year sent something that was a lot closer to Israel's 2018 entry than it is to the Austrian or Estonian entry of that year. Yeah, does that make sense? Does my stream of consciousness make sense? La Forza may not have won, but it may have inspired the next generation that did. Austria's last won the contest in 2014. They hosted it in 2015 for the 60th annual version of the contest. Now they're hosting the 70th annual and the 70th anniversary. That's kind of a momentous occasion for them when you think about it.
Now that we are finally done with the 2025 contest, it took me quite a while to get to this point. I can go back into hibernation a bit. And yeah, I got life things coming back again. May as well. As I said, I'll be going to college soon, and I'll try to send in an entry or 2 here and there to Eurovision and that sort of stuff. Normally at the end of every video I give you something to think about. And I did have quite the ending originally planned for this video. But ultimately, I pulled back on it. I don't know what even the next day will bring, but I'm still gonna try, even if it's just shuffling through the day. I am still gonna see if I can do better, because a lot is better than this. Not necessarily that I have a problem with filming this in a garage, but you know, I kind of wanted to do more ambitious things than just sharing my thoughts on YouTube, because I want to. I don't have to, but I want to. If only to let people know, hey, there are American fans in the contest, and we want you to shape up EBU and eventually do something about the geo-locking us out of the contest and forcing us to get a subscription to Peacock. And maybe bring back American Song Contest, but correct this time. Yeah, I know, that's kind of a rant, but hopefully one day I can make American Song Contest come back. That seems kind of the unrealistic ambition, though, doesn't it? One person bringing back American Song Contest? Maybe not necessarily American Song Contest, but you never know. I have a few ideas. I do kind of want to make a review of all the different forms of media that have made their own fantasy Eurovision Song Contests for the story, or spoof the contest, or that sort of stuff. Like, for instance, Eurovision The Story of Fire Saga, that's a pretty popular example. Also, someone told me that on the same night as the Eurovision Grand Final, BBC released, before the Grand Final, a Doctor Who episode about the Interstellar Song Contest? And I had to ask, I'm going, wait, are you confusing it with the Big Finish audio play thing? And no, they're separate things. There's also the Father Ted sort of thing, and quite a few other more indie stories that I have read up on and made me ascertain certain views that the author had of the contest and of the world as a whole. But wouldn't it be funny if I could somehow join that list? Not necessarily making my own Eurovision, but making my own American Song Contest. Though that's an ambition that is currently on the back burner. First goal is to get a good position for myself. Get myself some money and a place of my own and a bit of stretching room to make that happen. And that's what I'm hoping to do with sending an entry into Eurovision. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to be competing myself or if I'm going to be writing for someone else. Oh, great. I rhymed myself with someone else. That is so cliche! I am trying really hard. Back in 2024, I had said I wanted to write a song for Spain. That did not pan out. Not least of which is because I don't have Spanish residency. But also because I didn't know how to transcribe a song. But now I'm figuring out if I can take this class and if I can focus, then I can learn how to do it. And if I practice, then I will be able to do it. But I have had certain focus problems in the past, and that has led to me concluding that I may have ADHD. Another reason for the Secretary of Health and Human Services to cap me, interestingly enough. But this year, as I said, I do have a plan somewhat. I'm trying to get my life organized. I'm going to see this person, I'm going to go to that person, I'm going to stay in that class, I'm going to get these materials, etc., etc., etc. And hopefully that will be enough. And as I said, I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know if I'm going to be sending a song over to San Marino or to Denmark through the Denmarkification reference, or some other country, like I've been hearing like Ireland or Finland or something, like a country that isn't particularly picky with residency so long as they can send an entry in. But like, It kind of sucks that I can't enter Benidorm even with a Spanish language song because I don't have the connections. But yeah, there is no equivalent to Eurovision in which I can compete. Mostly, it's really good in theory that we have an alternate contest to slap Eurovision out a bit and make them try harder, but I will not acknowledge the contest by name. With that being said, hopefully, though, I do enter Eurovision in some way, shape, or form, and maybe even a future American Song Contest if NBC or CBS, because, you know, arch rivals of NBC, and even though their content skews toward an older audience, they don't really have a singing show of their own. But then again, having competitions, they have experience with that, I think. I don't know, maybe they have Survivor or Big Brother, that sort of stuff. But for now, this is my plan. I may not come back to you until 2026, but when has that ever not been the case? Maybe back in the distant past, I would have churned out Minecraft stuff or that sort of thing. And of course, the Steven Universe community is clamoring about a spin-off involving Lars. But yeah, no, I kinda need to focus because that's the only way I can change my life around. And I know, this may not necessarily be the kind of thing you want to listen to. But when you have a special interest and you're kind of stuck to that special interest, you've been burned out by television so often that you're not willing to try anything else, it's kind of tough to find an alternative. We do what we can to survive and to succeed. And I'm going to be making several sacrifices. I had been in new friend groups for the first time in years from back almost a year ago. And I'm going to have to leave them be for a while because it would be inconvenient to visit them while I'm taking classes. But for the first time, I have an idea of what I want. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Do the feedback thing, like, comment, subscribe, or dislike because you don't think I should be broadcasting myself, even though I do honestly feel that there should be a few voices like mine to make some people know that they're not alone. I'll see you next time. Hasta la sintonía, and hopefully next time you catch me, I'm on my way to Austria. That would be the dream, wouldn't it?